channel and to this week's video. I hope you're all doing very, very well. It's a day off for me and I am making the most of this beautiful sunshine. And yes, it is me. It really is me. Yes, I've had a bit of a change of look, haven't I? I've had a good old chop in my hair and I've had a little bit of a different colour put through it as well. You have to tell me what you think. So there's still some blonde in it, but I've had a few low lights put in and some caramel colour, and I'm still getting used to the colour myself. I'm really a blondie and I do like being blonde, so I'm going to see how this goes for sort of 6 to 8 weeks, let's say, till my next appointment, and I might have a bit of extra blonde put through. I don't know, it might just be a case of getting used to it, but it has had a good old chop and it needed it, and I feel so much better for having had it done. So I am very, very pleased with my new hair, but let me know what you think. Nice comments only, I'm only joking. Let me know what you think. But I thought it's got a few layers in it, but I thought I'd keep it sort of just above the shoulder height so that if I did want to grow it again, I can, but health-wise, it feels so much better. I definitely made the right decision having it chopped. And as I say, there's still a bit of blonde through it, so all things are good. Look at this beautiful weather, and look how my garden is coming along. That's all Paul's doing, that is. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm loving it. I'm not sure this sunshine is going to last, but I hope you're having a lovely weekend anyway. Happy Sunday morning to you. Hope it's all going very, very well. Another very busy week, very productive week, and a very, very thoughtful week as well. In terms of this house, in terms of the situation we're in at the moment, I'll chat to you a bit more about it later on, but we've been up to our usual shenanigans, shopping and here, there and everywhere. Nancy's doing very, very well. Adam's preparing for his trip to Australia, so we've had quite a lot of sorting out to do, and in that process, in the garage, we found a suitcase full of clothes, dirty clothes I might add, that he hadn't opened since he came back from university. We're talking nearly a year. To say it was a bit smelly. How we missed it, I don't know. Anyway, that's been sorted. So Adam's been doing a huge sort out, ready for Australia. And we're having a big debate here in the house about where we go from here, really. The house is not selling. We're not getting any viewers. Is it the time of year? Is it the type of house? Don't know. But Nancy's very, very settled. As I say, I will talk to you a little bit more about that later on. So without further ado, I'm going to sit back and enjoy this last bit of sunshine, because I don't think we've got it for too much longer, while you enjoy this week's video. Let's get into it. So on a beautiful Sunday morning, very early, 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, myself and my daughter Grace decided to do the local car boot sale. This was a lovely, lovely day. It's a fabulous car boot sale. It's huge as well. We got there dead on 6 o'clock. It was already pretty full, and it was the first weekend that this car boot is open for the season. So there was lots and lots of people, very, very early indeed. The only thing I bought was a few thank you notelets, strangely enough. I did have a bit of a mooch around myself, and so did Grace. We didn't find anything we wanted to buy, which is a bit of a godsend, because we're in the process of decluttering, not buying really at the moment. So I was glad we didn't see anything we particularly liked, but Grace did incredibly well selling her items, and it was just a beautiful morning to take things in my own time, sit in the sunshine, spend a bit of time with my daughter. It was lovely. my indoor cat that's out. She is allowed in the garden actually when we're out here. Just a nice little wander. Anyway, I wanted to show you a few new things in the garden. Look at this twig tree. Now, actually, I've ordered and have arrived, look, 2 cherry blossom trees. Obviously, they're not budding or flowering at the moment, and it possibly might not be till next year now that they do. But Paul has planted 2 in the garden for me. So until they bud and bloom, I've put some twinkly lights on them, look, and it looks absolutely gorgeous at night time. Very happy with those. Put a few little bedding plants in the bottom. Done the same with this one. So we've got some little twinkly lights there. How lovely is that now starting to look? We've got a lovely mix going on, and this here is a big rose clematis with lots and lots and lots of buds on, look. So we are going to get loads of roses on there. Equally, this is going to have loads of roses, and I do think we have the very first one just opening there, but again, loads and loads of buds that are going to be opening on here. And everything's just looking, oh hello Mila, just see her little tail sticking out. Everything's looking so healthy and beautiful in the sunshine. It's just a shame that the pictures on the internet of my house for sale doesn't have this colour, because the pictures were taken in January. In fact, we were looking at the pictures yesterday. The comparison was quite shocking. And it just goes to show a little care and attention. And there's Nancy's statue of Our Lady, which is just underneath a little solar light here. And at night time, when these light up, Michael was my dad, Sarah is my sister. This is the little dedication garden. When this lights up at night time, it just lights up Our Lady there completely, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. What gorgeous spring weather we're having, and don't it make you feel good? So a little bit of a Tesco's haul this week for you. Picked up some dairy milk puddings, some cat milk, some Actimel, a beautiful lemon drizzle cake, some prawns, and there's a macaroni cheese meal there for Mom. We've got some milk, some red currant jelly, some of Mom's favourite desserts, these Milky Way ones, some essentials for the bathroom. I found this Surf detergent, £3.25, absolute bargain. Picked up some cat food, of course. I think every shop we do, we picked up cat food, apples and bananas. And I also picked up some paracetamol for Mum because she's struggling a bit with her sore leg. That's helping. A great big bag of 18 mixed pack crisps, predominantly for Nancy, I hasten to add. Some lovely lemon cheesecake, some tonics for Nancy's happy hour, her gin and tonic. These jars are for Adam. He makes a lot of foods, you know, with his corn and things like that because he's vegetarian. So some jars for him, some fresh bread. Oh, these are lovely rhubarb desserts. Another little meal there for Nancy, and a few other kitchen essentials. Are you enjoying the sunshine, Mum?
Oh. Absolutely lovely. I'm in the garden enjoying the shade and looking at all the lovely plants in the sun.
Garden's looking nice, isn't it?
Yes, it's a beautiful garden.
There's Albert Cat. All the beautiful plants. So here we are having our moment on the bed. And the first thing I want to do this week is say a big thank you. Thank you to all of you for all of your lovely comments that keep coming week after week after week. They really are giving me the encouragement and the support that is so gratefully received in terms of, well, everything really, particularly looking after Nancy. And I am very, very grateful. I do read every single comment. It might take me a few days after the video is uploaded, but I do read everything and I do try to respond to everybody as much as possible. But even if I just send you a little kiss or a little heart or a little emoji or something, do know that I am very, very grateful for all of your lovely comments, and I do feel very uplifted by them. Sometimes, you know, everybody has those moments of doubt, don't they, where you go, am I doing this okay? You know, am I looking after myself enough? Is everybody else okay? Am I spending enough time with daughter, with son, with partner? Am I trying to split myself into 100 different ways? And then you read the comments and you think, actually, I'm doing okay. I am doing okay. And I do feel quite bright this week. I'm not quite as tired, perhaps, as I was last week. We've got another bank holiday weekend, which is lovely. So I'm not at work tomorrow. And yeah, it's up and down, and it's going to be up and down, isn't it? But there's more ups this week than downs, which is good. I also wanted to welcome any new subscribers. There's been a few over the past couple of weeks. So welcome to the All Things Good channel. My goodness, if you go back to, is it 2-3 years I've done this now? There's been a lot of changes, not just the hair. There's been a lot of changes all round in my life. Many changes, really. Lots of personal changes. And I started the channel when I was at a real low. I'd just come out of a 12-year relationship that was very difficult. And I was still grieving very much the death of my father, and prior to him the death of my sister. And I got to a point where I thought, you know, I wanted something for me. I'd worked in the media years ago. I've worked in television, I've worked in theatre, I've worked in the music industry, and I hadn't done anything creative and I hadn't stepped on a stage for many, many years. And I just saw YouTube as a little platform, and I thought, well, it's not just about talking about myself and things like that. It's a little bit of a creative outlet for me. So I started it very much sort of for me. But then I realised it was a platform for helping others. That sounds like a cliche, doesn't it? I know it does. But honestly, I saw it as a platform for helping others that are in the same boat. Hence, when I always say at the end of my vlogs every week, stay in the boat and stay safe. And it's because, you know, we all have a bit of a rocky journey on those waters sometimes, don't we? And talking about it and having that two-way conversation with you through the comments and things like that, you realise that you're not alone, and everybody has their problems to deal with. Everybody has burdens in their life, and also we have such a lot to be thankful for and praise in our lives, and the blessings that we have in our lives, that it's good to talk about those too, because it does lift people up. And the reason I picked the name of the channel, All Things Good, was because I have a bit of a saying that generally when people say, how are you, Pol? I go, good, all things are good. And I've kind of always said that. Even if things haven't always been good, I've always gone, yeah, I'm good. All things are good. And actually, on the whole, all things are good. When you take things into perspective and you look at some of the things that some people have to go through, and I won't dwell on negativity really, but you know, we've all got our blessings, even if we're going through trials and tribulations, haven't we? So I wanted to sort of say hi to you all, but to new subscribers as well. And to address the new hairstyle, obviously, still getting used to it. Now in this light in the bedroom, it's looking quite grey, isn't it? Very ashy colour. And not sure about that. In the sunshine, it still looks very blonde. Now, I haven't washed it yet since I had my hair done, which was 2 days ago. So I think as I wash it, because it's got a bit of a toner through it, which makes it look a little bit greyy. I was going to say a bit purpley. I don't think it is purple. Better not be anyway. A bit grey. That might fade a little bit. I love the cut in that it's really helped. It's really helped me feel better because it feels soft, smooth, silky. I've got rid of those horrible ends. But I do love being blonde. Tell me what you think. I'm not a natural blonde, but I am quite grey now. So this is this is probably what my hair would actually look like naturally. But I think when I go back in 6 to 8 weeks, I won't have any more of the ashy colour put through. But I don't know whether you can see, there's a few caramel, you're not going to be able to pick it up on camera. There's a few caramelly coloured low lights going through it. I would say like a tea bag colour. Do you know what I mean? And I think when I go back next time, I'm going to have a few more highlights to bring the blonde up again with a bit more caramel through and lose the ash. But tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Someone I was at work with yesterday when I went to work, and they said, oh, like the new hairstyle. And they said the one thing they thought it did was bring out the colour of my eyes. And I was like, oh, thank you, because I haven't changed my makeup or anything like that. So it does sometimes make a difference, doesn't it, when you have a change? But I am adapting to it. Love the cut, not sure about the colour. So let me know what you think. And I did say I was going to mention a little bit about the thoughtfulness of this week, the thoughts I've been having this week, and they are to do with the house. And we're debating a lot at the moment because still no interest in my house, not getting any viewings. And I don't have an explanation for that, neither does the estate agent. I also work in conveyancing, as you know, and I'm finding it's very quiet at work. I think we've had that mad rush of people wanting to buy and sell before the stamp duty land tax went up, which was the 1st of April. So March was hectic at work, very, very hectic. And as soon as we got March out the way, and then of course we've had Easter, it's just dead, quiet, really dead. Nancy is very, very comfortable here. Very comfortable. She loves her room. She's got access to the bathroom, to the kitchen, and she is absolutely loving being in the garden, especially this week, the beautiful weather we've had. And she said, when we were sitting in the garden the other day, you would be mad to sell this house. And I said, well, I know, but we do need the extra space. We just need one extra room, really, I suppose, is the essential bit, and a little bit more space downstairs, because I've told you this before, I live in a townhouse, so it's 3 stories, but it's very narrow because it's a townhouse. The rooms are big, but the hallways and landings and your access into rooms is narrow. And what I'd like is a house that's just got a bigger, wider downstairs with the room for mum. And it is quite a find, actually. It is surprisingly quite difficult to find the criteria that I had in mind. However, we've been on the market since October. Admittedly, we were sold for a little bit. So we were off the market for 3 months, up as sold, and it turned out that the person that was buying it couldn't buy it and had lied her way through it, quite frankly. I don't mind saying it now. She'd lied her way through it. But the agent I was with at the time hadn't done their due diligence as to her proof of source of funds, let's put it that way. So I was cross with them. I'm not with those agents anymore. I'm with a different agent. But to cut a very long story short, no viewings and no interest. And Mom keeps saying she does not want to move again. Now, you have to bear in mind that Mum does have quite a few moments of clarity within the Alzheimer's and the dementia, but they don't last very long. The advice I'm being given, especially at work, by my bosses who deal with powers of attorney and wills and all these kind of things, and the advice is that you must take those moments of clarity, because that's the real person coming through and showing themselves. And if she says something she does or doesn't want to do, take it as read. She does or doesn't want to do it. That was a wise piece of advice. And I said to her, well, we've got all these things in storage, Mum, which we're paying for, obviously. So basically the contents of her other house, the house that we've now sold, is in storage, plus about a quarter of my house is in storage to have been able to accommodate Nancy coming to live here. And she said the other day, and she has repeatedly said this since, get rid of it. Now, Mum has been a hoarder all her life. She's got some beautiful furniture, some beautiful items, but they have all, in her lifetime, been things that have been passed down to her. You know, she's got furniture that was my great-grandparents. We're talking some lovely Art Deco pieces from the 1920s and all sorts of things. But she said the other day, she said, don't sell this house. Why would you sell this house? She said, I'm nearly 100, for God's sake. She said, get rid of it. Sell the lot, keep whatever you want and whatever the children want and get rid of it. And I thought, no, that's a bit drastic. So I then thought, I know what I'll do. I'll go to the container storage unit and I'll photograph as much as I can. Because if I show her photographs of what's there, because actually she doesn't remember now. All she knows is her day-to-day. She does not remember the items of furniture she had in the previous house. And actually, just to sort of bring this in as an add-on, when we talk about her old house, she never mentions the house that she's just left. She always talks about our family home, which is where she lived for 50 years with me and my sister and us as a family. Or she talks about her childhood home and her brothers and sisters. She never, ever, ever mentions the house that we've just sold. How interesting is that? And she was in it for 5 years. But she said, I'm nearly 100. I don't want any of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of everything that's in storage and just stay here. There's lots of different branches to that tree. But I went down to the unit, took photographs of everything, brought it back. And of course, what she then did when I showed her the photographs was, oh, that's a lovely piece of furniture. I'd like to keep that. And that's a lovely piece of furniture. I'd like to keep that. But she's just saying it from I like that. It looks beautiful. She has no concept of what we would actually do with it or whether she'd need it again or want it again. So I then took that a stage further and I thought what I'll do is I'll speak to some professionals and then get all the information I need together, and then slowly, perhaps over the next few weeks, months, I'll make a decision on exactly how we're going to go forward. But I spoke to a local auctioneer's house that I've used before and basically said, look, we have furniture and then we have items that are boxed up. Some are antiques, some of them are, you know, I don't know. Some of them could be worth something, some of them might not be worth anything. We as a family, i.e. myself, Adam and Grace, Nancy's grandchildren, have no interest in keeping anything that is there. None at all. And so I went to the auctioneers and I said, right, this is the situation. Realistically, is it worth selling that furniture? Or no matter how beautiful it is or how old it is and how well it's been kept, does it have any financial valuation? And or the contents in these boxes that we've got? Very quick answer. The brown furniture doesn't matter. How nice it is cannot be sold. It is actually worthless. The items in the boxes, however, there could be some real goodies in there, and I suspect there probably is. What they've said they would do for £100, bearing in mind I have 3 container units. I thought I had 2, but when I went down I've actually got 3. Huge. And what they said is for £100 they would take all of the boxes away to the auction house, where they would methodically go through it all. They would sort out anything, they would value everything, but then they'd sort it into what could go to auction and their possible value, and the things that are worthless financially. And then they would come back to me and give me an indication of what's what. And if I said to them, brilliant, everything that is of value and could go to auction, let's put it into auction. What they would also do is anything that's not worth anything and we don't want it, they would, on our behalf, dispose of them to charitable organisations, which saves me a job. Because my thinking was we'd move house, I'd take all that with me, and that was what I was going to do anyway. I was going to slowly take the boxes to the auction house and say, is that one worth anything? Is that worth anything? Is that worth keeping? Is that not worth keeping? Blah, blah, blah. They would do the whole lot for me for £100. To me, that sounds like a no-brainer. And I think I'm going to do it. And in terms of the furniture, we can make a decision on that as and when. There's a couple of charities that I know will take it. And there's plenty of charities that won't, because they just will not touch brown furniture because it's not in fashion at all. So there's that. If we decided to stay in this house, that's what we'd have to do. Everything would have to go out of storage and be sold or disposed of. It's a huge decision, but I think it would be a weight off my mind. And then the other thing is I haven't come off the market. I am still for sale. So I think with that in mind, what I think the plan would be is to leave the house for sale, see how the summer goes, give it till August. And if we haven't sold by August, I think potentially I would then take the house off the market and get the items out of storage, gone, really. At the moment, that's my thinking. But it really has played on my mind this week and has been a huge debate in my mind. What I am a little bit more relaxed about is the fact that Nancy has said, get rid of it. Don't want it. Not going to need it now. I'm nearly 100. And I sort of said to my boss, I've just realised you're on a bit of we look a bit drunk. Yeah, let me just move the camera. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. And the fact that my boss said, take those moments of clarity. And when she says that, she means it. But yeah, it's difficult for me in a way to take that on board because Nancy has always been completely the opposite of that. This is the lady that would not throw away a piece of paper, ever. So that's come as a bit of a shock. And I think it's only fair to give that a bit of time to settle in with me and for me just to be sure that Nancy would be okay with me doing that. But she's quite right. She's never going to need any of it ever again. So yeah, it's been a lot to think about this week, but I'm glad I've done those first stages, get down. The other thing, getting down the container storage unit meant that I could actually see everything where it is being housed now, because obviously with the move, it was just a case of the removal people came and I went, thanks, bye, see you, all our belongings. I knew they were where they were going to be, but I've never seen it physically. So it was nice to see it. It's been very well looked after. The people down there are fantastic. Can't recommend them highly enough. Super people and just so helpful. They've been so helpful with our situation as well. So I'm content that I'm happy with where everything's been kept. It's all safe, it's all dry, it's all clean. And so that's all good. And I'm glad I've taken that stage of getting down there, having a good look, taking some pictures and starting now to think about all the options that I may have in terms of moving on or not moving on from this house. And what I also have to bear in mind is that Nancy's very, very frail, and we have had a decline since Christmas, particularly mobility. And do I want to put her through another house move? Having said that, it wouldn't be a huge house move for her because it's just her little room that she's got and it's us all doing it together rather than pulling her out of her home into a different environment, living on your own to then living with 5 people. She's used to the setup now. She's used to us all being around her and coming and going and doing what we do. So it wouldn't be a massive physical move for her, but obviously she'd be in a different environment that she's got to get used to and those kind of things. So there is an awful lot to think about. And in a way, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that my house didn't sell when it was supposed to sell. because it's given me this opportunity to take stock, think about things, and try and make the right decision, really. That's all I can do, and that's all I've been trying to do since Nancy was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, knowing that this wasn't going to be an easy journey, knowing it was going to have lots of changes, and wanting the best for her. We look at her now and we know that we moved her just in the nick of time. There is absolutely no way that she could be on her own now or living on her own now. And that's been a huge change since, like I say, since Christmas, really. So with that in mind, things changing all the time, it's weighing up, you know, where we go from here. Also, it's only 3 weeks' time that Adam will be going off to Australia. I can't even say it. So I'm that traumatised. That Adam will be going off to Australia. And anything could happen there, you see. He may never come home. I don't want to think about that. Or he might be there a year. He might be there 2 months and not like it and come back. So I've got to keep his room free and ready for him, really. But equally, if he did decide he was going to be there for a huge period of time, then I don't need an extra room, because his room could become the office or the spare room that we need. You see why I think it's, you know, there's such a lot to think about. It's, yeah. And it's one of those, I don't have the crystal ball. So I don't know where we're going to be in, well, tomorrow, let alone in a couple of months' time. But it's kind of weighing up all the options. But anyway, on that note, I am quite nervous about Adam going to Australia now. It's suddenly starting to feel really real. And he's just, you know, well, I'm going to miss him so much, obviously, naturally. And I also have that worry about him being so far away, with Granny being so old and frail and, you know, anyway, he's got to do it. He's young. And if you don't do it when you're young, do you know what I mean? You know, this is his last chance, really, in a way, I suppose, to travel before he decides whether he's going to settle down. He might want a family, do his PhD, which he's determined to do. So, you know, I'm all for it. I am all for him going and living his life. But it is a long way away, and I will miss him terribly. But anyway, that's this week's kind of, oh, there's a lot going on in here, isn't there? A lot to think about and all that. But actually, physically, I'm feeling pretty bright this week, and not too bad at all. Lots of you have made comments last week's video about all the vitamins I take. I have taken on board everything that everybody has said, because I actually do agree. When I watch back, I don't watch my videos back ever. The only time I watch a bit of my videos back is in the editing process. That's the only time I see it. When I was editing last week's video, I thought, flipping heck, Paul, that's a lot of vitamins. And a lot of you were talking about vitamin toxicity and how sometimes they don't mix, and that can cause fatigue and some of the other symptoms that I'm experiencing that may not be totally menopausal, although I think 90% of them are. But I did take stock on a lot of what you said and had a look at some of the things I was taking, and I thought to myself, do you know what? What I might do is take that one every other day, or take those two every 2 or 3 days, and just sort of balance it out a little bit. Because actually, I think some of you are right, I'm taking too many. Anyway, what I've decided to do is just sort of be a little bit more cautious about what I'm mixing together. And I've done a bit of research about the vitamins I do take in relation to the medications that I take, and what's a good mix and what's not a good mix, and just keeping with the basics, if you like, what's going to really help me through the menopause and what's going to assist my health, as opposed to me thinking, oh, I'll take that because that could be the magic fix as to why I'm asleep all the time, or I'll take that because it could be that my iron's low, or I'll take that because it could be that my cortisol levels are low, or I'll take that one because I don't want my immune system. Do you know what I mean? And I think that I'd got to the point where I was almost looking for the quick fix. Maybe that vitamin will help that. maybe that mineral will help that. And then you realise you're taking a lot of everything and it's all getting a bit mixed up and a bit jumbled. So anyway, I've taken on board what you've said, and I'm slowly looking into adapting my vitamin intake slightly, and I have already done a little bit of that this week. There's a couple that I'm now taking every other day, like I said, and a few bits and pieces, and actually I feel absolutely great, to be honest. So you never know, you could well be very, very right. But I'm going to sign off now because this bit is being filmed late Saturday afternoon and I'm off to the theatre with Gracie. We're going into Birmingham this evening to go and see The Girl on the Train. So hopefully I'll be able to film a bit of us out and about, but probably won't be able to film any of the performance. Obviously those rules are very strict these days, aren't they, with filming and what have you. But I'm really looking forward to having an evening with Grace and an evening out. Can't wait. So I'm going to go and get my cloud rags on and go and get ready. So I hope you have enjoyed this week's video, and thank you very much again for joining me, and again a warm welcome to all new subscribers, and thank you for returning if you are a returning viewer. Lovely to see you as always, but until next Sunday, stay safe, stay in the boat and keep doing all things good. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.